What's up, guys? Matthew here, back at it again with another board game review. Today, we're going to be looking at Love Letter. Oh, you look at this little baggie. Look at that. It's a little baggie. Oh, cool. Now, from appearances, you're probably thinking, what game? That just looks like some drugs you pilfered from someone on the street. Hey, you got the stuff? I have the stuff. You have the money? Yeah, I got money. Love Letter is a part of a trilogy of games known as the Tempest Trilogy. In which it follows this story, this sort of Renaissance story, death, betrayal, queens, and it's very Shakespearean to its core. And this is one of the more popular games, which is Love Letter. For one, its price tag is just too good to pass up. I mean, it's like $12 for a game. And while you don't get much stuff with that, you get a ton of great gameplay. So in the instruction manual, they have this little mini chapter that's kind of following up the events from the earlier games. Let's have a read, shall we? The guard looked Bartholomew Keiss up and down for a moment and then frowned. I'm sorry, Master Keiss, but the princess is not seeing visitors at this time. She is, of course, in despair over the arrest of her mother. Of course, the young composer said, nodding and looking appropriately sympathetic. But I am not just visiting, you see. Her Highness requested my instruction. We are to practice her singing. The princess already has a vocal maestro, the gruff woman replied, raising an eyebrow. I'm sure he knows that, Odette, said the kind voice, echoing down the hall that connected the residence to the palace. The two turned to see Susanna, one of Princess Annette's handmaids, walking toward them. What the good composer means to say is that Annette requested his work for their practice. The young woman smiled at the guard and gave Bartholomew a conspiratorial wink. From his satchel, Bartholomew produced a sealed tube. If you will be so kind as to deliver these sheets of music, my dear Susanna, he said with a smile and a genteel nod. The guard took the tube from him, but as it changed hands, something with a little weight shifted inside the tube. What's this, then? The guard asked, jostling it next to her ear. Certainly not a small statue of a bird the princess is so fond of, Bartholomew thought. The quill and ink I used to pen the music, in case she or the maestro wished to make any changes. I always deliver some with a new composition. Susanna gently took the case from the suspicious guard. Oh, would you stop, Odette? It's just some music, she chided playfully. I'll see to it that milady gets these, she added, with a hand on Bartholomew's arm. I'm sure she'll be eager to see the contents. To be continued. Now, all jokes aside, while that opening chapter isn't very descriptive of what the story is, essentially what we can decipher from actually playing the game is that it's all about sending a love letter to the princess. And your goal is to be the closest to the princess by the end of the round. It's a matter of being at the end of the round with the highest connection to the princess to deliver the letter. There are 8 people with connections to the princess, each numbered from 1 to 8. The princess being the highest at 8, and the guard being the lowest at 1. So with the guard at 1, you have 2, the priest, 3, the baron, 4, the handmaid, 5, the prince, 6, the king, 7, the countess, and of course 8, the princess. So the way this works is that each player will start with 1 card in their hand. And on your turn, you will then draw a card from the deck, and you will choose one of the 2 cards in your hands to discard. In discarding that card, you will also trigger the power that's listed on the card. The round ends once all the cards in the deck have been used. Now, before you look at me and think, Oh, we have to go through every card in the deck and the game ends. There are 16 cards in the deck. Pretty sure the rounds are going to be fast. But your goal by the end of the deck is to have the highest number of card in your hand to reveal in the end. That, or knock your opponents out and be the last person standing. I would say the most common strategy is definitely knocking other people out. It's very rare that we end up getting to the end of the deck and we have to compare. And that's the game. And essentially it's all about just understanding the powers of different characters. So like, for example, the guard. When you play the guard, you have to choose an opponent and you have to guess what that opponent has in their hand. Excluding guards, of course, because there's 5 guards in the deck. It would be too easy to assume that someone has a guard in their hand. If you can guess the opponent's card correctly, then that opponent gets knocked out of the round. Some other strategies can involve duking someone out with the princess. So the princess, if you have the princess in your hand, discarding the princess will actually boot you out of the game. So you don't want to lose the princess. To be able to have the princess till the end of the game is also challenging because people will likely start targeting you and make assumptions that you might have the princess in your hand. An interesting strategy you can put in place is to use the king to trade the princess away to someone else, and then if you can collect a prince, you can force that opponent which you gave the prince to discard their hand, and that will boot them out of the round. Handmaids are also interesting cards. They will actually protect you from any character attacks for the turn, so that's also something to keep in mind. But essentially, it's all just, you just read the cards, and then once you get a couple of rounds in, then the game will become very simple to understand. It's already simple to understand in practice, so I mean, learning the cards will not take long at all. So the game plays in rounds, because like I said, just like one game alone is going to be super fast. So obviously, to extend that time, you're going to be playing in rounds. With 2 players, you're going to be playing for 7 tokens, which are these little like red bricks, cute little red bricks that they have inside the bag. With 3 players, you're playing till 5 tokens, and then with 4 players, you're playing for 4 tokens, and that's it. That's Love Letter. Now, there's different versions of Love Letter you can get, but they're essentially the same thing. There's no changes in gameplay. You've got a Munchkin version because Munchkin everything, and you've got a Batman version, and I feel like there's a Cthulhu version, probably, but I don't want to confirm that right away. But there's definitely like a variety of skins for this game that, you know, might appeal to your tastes. Honestly, I highly recommend this game, not just for its price, but for its portability. Like I have in here a baggie of travel games. So these are all games that, well, essentially they're in the bag because A, I sleeved them and they didn't fit in the box, or B, the box was too big. So this is my like list of my baggie of travel games, which I keep, and then whenever I hang out with someone that likes board games or whatever, I take the baggie with me, and Love Letter is always in there. It's such a simple game to set up, along with all the other stuff that I have in there. But it's such a simple game to set up, and you can play it anywhere. There's really no limit to where you can enjoy a game like this. So there you go. That's my review of Love Letter. I know it's a lot shorter than other videos, but you know, like, sometimes it doesn't take that long to talk about a game, to be honest with you. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of Love Letter. And subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to see more videos like this in the future. So, thank you. And I will see you again next week. Beep, 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 beep.